What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about a very interesting news story that went around, I believe, yesterday. This comes from Tom Henderson, right? Notable Battlefield leaker, and he talked about everybody kind of going back to their, regularly scheduled programs. He said the migration from Battlefield 2042 back to other projects has begun. Criterion is now moving back to their Need for Speed title, thank God, and the DICE studio is moving to their next title, which is expected to be another Battlefield title and not Star Wars Battlefront 3. Now, I mean, there is positives in terms of going to another Battlefield title. Number one, there's always hope in a way that it could be Bad Company 3, right? And I think everybody out there probably wants a Bad Company 3 at some point. It's good that everybody's going back to normal. I've talked about this many times, even giving dedicated videos to the whole Activision situation, right? Literally every single one of their studios was helping with Call of Duty. I didn't see anything that they went back to normal, but I really pray to God that they did. Go back to Crash, go back to Spyro, go back to whatever you were working on, and please give us more than one game besides Call of Duty. Give us more than that in next year or the year after or whatever. And I do believe Tom. I do believe him. He's normally, I've talked about him before specifically, right? He gets a lot of Battlefield related stuff right. He tends to operate in that area. When he leaves that area, it's not 100% success, right? But he's definitely somebody to pay attention to. So, again, the Bad Company idea, and that's literally just an idea. There's no guarantee. In fact, honestly, I would imagine that's not the game, that they make. But I guess that's the positive side. The negative side is the Battlefront one, which I do want to, talk about in this video. That's disappointing. Now, I don't think he went on to say anywhere. I was scrolling through his the thread, and he didn't respond to anybody that I noticed, but, is it possible somebody else, another team is working on Battlefront 3? Because I can't imagine, when you have EA talking about how important Star Wars is to their brand, they're about to lose everything in terms of Star Wars. And by the way, I actually think EA has done a lot better, almost like an underdog redemption story over the last, 2 or so years. I think they've actually done a lot of really good things besides sports. Sports is always its own category, but it kind of does suck because they talk about how high Star Wars is to them, right? How important it is. But they're going to lose the license soon. And granted, that's only, making it exclusive to them so that anybody else can, right? And we already know, there's other teams that are working on Star Wars games. And I'm sure there'll be more teams that work on Star Wars games. And maybe we can get a Battlefront game from one of them. But, I actually do enjoy the Battlefront games that we got. Are they, full of content? No. Battlefront 1 was, was literally just a tech demo. A very, very good tech demo, but not really anything more, at least at launch. And then Battlefront 2 obviously had its own fair share of issues, but I really do believe the stuff that they added to Battlefront, if you played Battlefront towards the end, the last year or so of it being supported and played, the game was phenomenal. It really was. So I think they had the core there, and then they just had to add to it. I think they did a really good job. So I would have hoped that Battlefront 3 would have been this, grand spectacle of all the good put together, all the stuff that they've learned put together, but also just from a business perspective, right? You say how important Star Wars is, and then, you're going to have Jedi Fallen Order 2, which maybe comes out next fall, probably maybe doesn't. I would really hope that it does, and I think it makes sense for it to, but it's not a guarantee for it to. I really think they could go, an extra year after. So, that's your grand plan, is just to do Jedi Fallen Order 2. Meanwhile, you have Ubisoft, you have and I'm sure there's a lot of, again, teams kind of keeping it very, very quiet. Knights of the Old Republic remake, right? You have all of these games going to come out, Star Wars that's not from EA. And, the biggest thing you had, maybe not the best, but the biggest, right, because Jedi Fallen Order was probably the best, the biggest thing you had was Battlefront, and you're just going to, leave that? So I don't know. I don't know if I want to believe Tom, or I want to believe maybe some other studio is working on it, or I want to not believe, or, call EA liars, where basically they're saying, Hey, Star Wars is important to us, and behind the scenes they're whispering, yeah, it really didn't work out. We're probably just going to let it go eventually. We'll keep it around a little bit. We'll have a game here and there, and then, we'll let everybody else, because everybody else is going to have their time, to shine. We'll just give it to them. But it does suck because it actually plagues the idea. I think some people even on Reddit said this. Like, this is just a Battlefront 3 problem. We can never get to this point is as far as we ever reach, isn't it? I mean, this is the second time now that this has happened, and maybe you guys have seen like the behind the scenes of like what Battlefront 3 was going to look like it's at very, very early stages. I mean, it looked good back then. It looked really cool. So, I want one day for us to get what would be. I don't want somebody else to make Battlefront 1 because then we have to wait another 6 to 10 years before we get 3, and I just want a Battlefront 3. But no, I really, like I said earlier, I want what would be the best of Star Wars Battlefront, and that's really what Battlefront 3 I think would be. Put the modes in that people want, put the maps in that people want, start us off with the hero and villains that are full. Don't give us like 4 each, right? I think that was a Battlefront 1 problem, but give us all of the DLC ones you had in 2, give us more, right? Ahsoka, Mace Windu, Padme, Ventress, all, like, just give us these, and then just, go at it. So I really think, I want it bad, and it sucks because if they're not making it, if he's telling the truth, and they're making the next Battlefield game, well, then you either have to wait 3 more years until it even starts development. So now you're talking like 6-7 years before we get Battlefront 3, if it's coming from DICE, or it's going to be from another studio, or they're just kind of like letting it go in general, and maybe somebody else will pick up the Battlefront name. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me over on Twitter, or subscribe to my second channel, or support us on Patreon or YouTube memberships, links for all of them are in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.